Hello and welcome to the Hutchinson Veterans Outreach Program, located right here in Hutchinson, Minnesota. My name is Lisa Detel, and I'll be your host for the show. Today we have with us Van Karg from the Disabled American Veterans, and we have Sam and Elmer from Believe Vet, along with their two dogs, Taffy and Riley. I hope you enjoy the show. Right now I'm joined by Van Karg, who is with the DAV. Can I ask how you got involved with this?
Well, it comes from my injuries in Vietnam, and when I was looking for help for disabilities and whatnot, the DAV was the top choice for me. The DAV has national service officers out of Fort Snelling. They are professionally trained for disabilities, compensation, things like that. And I chose the DAV as my power of attorney. I was in the Army, Vietnam, 1966-67.
Van, how did you get involved with getting up into the ladder of the DAV?
When I came out of the service, I knew nothing about the DAV, or like a lot of people call it, what is DAV? Or what is Dave? Well, DAV stands for Disabled American Veterans. We didn't have any membership around in this area. I went through the Legion. I went through all of their chairs being officers. I went through the VFW, through their chairs. I tried to get some help from their service officers, and I didn't get any. Then I found out about the DAV, what the DAV does, the promises that they have made, and I just enjoyed what I heard about them, so I kept going forward through the DAV. The DAV is the most powerful service organization in the United States. Right now, at the National Convention this year, all of the income that comes in from donations goes back out into veteran services. We don't support the baseball teams, youth activities, things like that, unless it's a family member of a veteran. We will give towards that project. Otherwise, we do not spend our money that way. What we're really here for is to build better lives for our members and their families. And that's what we do. It was announced at the National Convention this year that 96.2% of all of the DAV income goes back to veteran services. And that's why I stay involved in the DAV.
Now, what kind of services do you provide for the veterans here?
We do everything from transportation, handicap equipment, representing our membership in front of the legislatures for bills that are coming up for the Senate and the House, and anything to do with veteran services for medical and disabilities, we take care of that. We have a transportation system that we have 4 handicap accessible vehicles and 2 ambulatories. And what those are for is transporting our veterans and family members of a veteran to medical appointments outside of the VA medical centers. Our county veteran service officer has transportation to the veterans clinics. And when they outsource to a different medical facility like Abbott or the university or eye doctors, then we step in and we take those members to those appointments.
Just to ask you, I would like to know if somebody wanted to send in a monetary donation, how would they go about doing that?
Well, all they have to do is contact myself or someone down in the office. Our office hours are from 9 a.m. until noon, 5 days a week. Otherwise, they can contact me, and I'm available anytime. We have absolutely no payroll. All of our people in the Hutchinson chapter are strictly volunteer, no payroll. I have 11 drivers that are strictly volunteer. I have someone coming down to the office every day volunteering, and if anyone's interested in volunteering, come on down and see us, and we've always got something for everyone to do.
Today we have Sam Daly and Elmer Basinger with Believe Vet. And we're here today to talk to them about their animals and what they do and how y'all got started. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. We're happy to be here today. My good friend Elmer is a client of Believe It Canine Service Partners, and he's brought his dog Riley with him. They graduated last year, so they've been together pretty close to a year now. And our program is located in Northfield, Minnesota. We have a dog training center there, and we train service dogs free of charge for disabled military veterans. So I worked as a military contractor with the U.S. Marine Corps. So I was a civilian contractor, and my job was to train explosive detection dogs for an infantry unit. So we trained in North Carolina, in the Fort Bragg area there. And then the Marine units came to North Carolina. We trained with them 5 weeks on our property. Then we went with them to their locations, which in this case, I was with the 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, which is out of Camp Pendleton, California. Okay. So then we went to Camp Pendleton, trained on their ground, and eventually to Camp Wilson, 29 Palms, California, before we deployed to Afghanistan.
So before you even got into Believe Vet, you were previously working with animals.
Right, so we've been training in Northfield Kennels, Northfield, Minnesota for 25 years. And I was just recruited for this explosive detection assignment from a company in North Carolina. That's how I got involved there. I had 34 young, mostly Lance Corporal, some Sergeant, NCO handlers, Marine infantry handlers, and those were my kids. Okay, those were my responsibility. They weren't professional dog handlers. They all had other MOS in their service. Dog handling was an extra responsibility, and they had a lot of people who didn't understand their jobs and what the capabilities or limitations were of a dog that's might be working in the dark, a dog that might be working in 120-degree temperatures, a dog that might be working in very hot, dry conditions, windy maybe, in and out of buildings, roadways, culverts, bridges, vehicles, of course. So a lot of capability there, and it was in the hands of these junior Marines, generally junior Marines, which did an awesome job. The dogs were very effective as they utilized them on the battlefield. These were my kids, kind of, being an older person, and they accepted me warmly. I was part of their group. I slept in the dirt with them. I traveled with them, ate, slept, everywhere together. At the end of that deployment, they were very attached to their dogs. Okay, so they weren't just bomb detection dogs, but these were also emotional support dogs, essentially. They weren't mascots, but they were they provided a lot of comfort in a miserable place. So when we got home, they were very heartbroken to give up their dogs. And I was very heartbroken to give up the Marines. I mean, frankly, they wanted to adopt their dogs. I really wanted to adopt all the Marines. Yeah, but I could see the need for this service animal to, further support, especially in the area of post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, as a non-chemical, non-addictive way to treat the symptoms of post-traumatic stress. But that's what these dogs do.
So is that then how you got involved with Believe Vet, or?
Yeah, well, so then I actually founded Believe It. So we came back, we already had the training facility in sight, we had a lot of key people that had a lot of good experience, and then it was a matter of doing the business side of the 501c3 charity, so that we could start providing these dogs, raising money and providing these dogs free of charge to people like Elmer.
I wanted to ask you, Elmer, how did you get involved with Believe Vet? I hear you're volunteering now?
Yes. I had a lab that was getting old, and she was starting to slow down quite a bit. She wasn't a registered therapeutic or service dog or anything, but she worked as one. And I thought, I got to start looking. So here I go on the computer. I found a lot of places, sent emails, talked on the phone, and then I talked to Sam one day after doing a couple of emails, I think it was. And I thought, you know what? This one fits in a lot better than those other places. Sam says, well, why don't you just come on down one day? So one day in early June, my wife and I, we went down and got introduced to Riley. And we bonded right away.
So we train, on the training side, we train a minimum of 3 service skills. So for somebody with post-traumatic stress, with a traumatic brain injury, those 3 skills might be nightmare interruption. Okay, nightmare interruption is a big skill for us. It's complex to teach, but it's the most requested skill that we get. So if somebody is having a traumatic, vivid, near-death kind of traumatic dream, sometimes their family members can be very intimidated by this. Like they can get pushed aside or slugged in the face or something, and it can be very frightening for everyone involved. So the dog is trained to recognize the behaviors, whether it be crying out, thrashing in the bedclothes, and realize this is my cue to go to work. And so we'll do 2 things normally. One would be to turn on a light switch, and then the second would be to actually physically grab the bedding and yank it off the bed. Rather than jump up and get in the person's face and maybe cause more of an issue, maybe have a dog injured, they actually just go for the bedding and pull it off the bed and get that light switch on, and then usually we can start bringing them back to a state where a family member can get involved safely. And so that would be one example of a service-related behavior that the dog would perform. Another might be visit, what we call visit. So in a public place, it could be in a family reunion, it could be any place where anxiety might escalate. The dog can come up, lay their head on the person's lap. The weight, the heat is very comforting. Set Taffy, here, good, right here, good. Can also move on to here, kennel, good. So come up here. Now we've got a different level of interaction, of pressure, of the warmth of her body, and sometimes we can come all the way up into our lap. It depends on the individual what they want. A lot of retrieving skills are involved. So people who are mobility restricted, if they drop their phone, it can be a big deal. If their keys, anything like that, the remote control, anything. So we get the retrieving skills. Sometimes just getting the socks from your feet to the laundry basket, or the laundry basket from your closet to the wash machine. So they'll drag a laundry basket across the floor, pick your socks up, put it in the laundry basket for you, that kind of thing. These are service skills that are customized to the client, the individual. And on the other side of the training are what we call the public access skills. So these are the skills so that we know they can ride in elevators, climb stairs in an appropriate pace for the individual that has the disability, that can go in the restaurant and kennel quietly under the table, not search out food or aggress toward any kind of food item. And so these are things that they have to learn to do to be in public, fly on an airplane, ride on a train, go on a bus.
Now, Elmer, can you tell me a little bit about how things have changed since you've gotten Riley?
Oh, they changed tremendously. I've only had, since a year ago, June, I've only had 2 episodes. And I think it's because she recognizes that they're coming on right away. And like Sam said, she'll get right up here. And at night, one of those 2 was at night. and she did her thing, and it was done. And now, like I said, I think she senses that this is happening or going to happen, and she's right there. She's doing her thing right away. She's family.
Well, Sam, Elmer, I'd like to thank you both for coming on our show. It's been a pleasure. And can you tell people real quick how it is they can get a hold of you?
Sure. So Believe It Canine Service Partners is located in Northfield, Minnesota. My name is Sam Daly. You can look us up at believeit.org. We're also on Facebook. You can get in contact with us there. We have a tremendous number of volunteers that work with us. Everything from fostering dogs to training the dogs, providing other professional legal help. It's a business that we run. We're a 501c3 charity. Of course, we're always looking for fundraising opportunities from neighborhood lemonade stands all the way up to maybe concerts, other types of fundraising possibilities. I would say too, you're also welcome to contact us for a site visit. We'd be happy to give you a tour of our training center, meet the dogs, meet the staff, learn more about what we do. We also participate in parades. We'll be at the State Fair for Military Appreciation Day. Please come visit us. Please contact us. We'd love to hear from you.